So, with apologies, I'm about to present, but before we present, I just wanted to address those questions, if I may. It's interesting that we're talking lots about treatments and not so much about cures. It's interesting that we are looking at patients who have been transplanted for PBC because Urso hasn't worked, and we're giving them Urso as opposed to second-line therapies. So maybe that's something we could look at. And then the other thing I would ask is to look at industry and ask you to look at the bigger picture. We know that there are companies that are competing in the same space, but if companies are, let's say, disrespectful of other drugs in the space, it doesn't help anybody. So again, just think of the bigger picture. I know there's a market share out there, but actually you have a responsibility. So I would ask you to consider that. He says, sitting on the fence delicately, as he does. Right. Changing the future. PBC, moving towards solutions. So these are my disclosures. My other disclosure is that I don't have PBC. My mum has. It's 31 years since she was given 5 years to live. And she was given this experimental thing called Urso something. We'll give it a bash. We don't know if it works, but, you know, what the hell. And it's because of that that Carol and Colette are here 20 plus years later, making a huge impact. And I guess, Carol, with everything that you've said, and Colette, and for those of you that have been unlucky enough to be in the room where both Colette and I are present, you will know that I'm the quiet one. So, you know, Urso's had an impact. You can take what if that's good or bad. So, right, the PBC Foundation. This is why I'm here, 22 years in. And, you know, we're not experts because we don't have hepatology badges. But actually, you know what? Maybe we are. We've been at this for over 30 years. We've been involved with over 18,000 patients now registered with us. That's in 90 countries around the world, including 25 of the 27 in the EU. We've been co-authors in guidelines, journal pieces, abstracts. We use the prems and proms. In fact, it was actually a PBC Foundation abstract that led to the NHS audit. Dave Jones can tell a lovely story about a pub in North Berwick-upon-Tweed in terms of the partnership that created the PBC 40. We'll talk about Project 1990 when we come to the summit, and, you know, the summit is attached to this. So thank you very much to Veronica and to all the people at the forum for, you know, you were just at this 48 hours ago in a completely different continent, and you agreed to come over and do this here. And that's an incredible commitment to the PBC community, and for that, we're truly grateful. So thank you. So I found this, and it struck a bit of a chord. Now, I'm not a clinician. I don't know if you guys, is the Hippocratic Oath real? Do you sign it in blood on your first day of university? I don't know what you do. But apparently it says, first, do no harm. And if there's anybody, and so this is the frustration with this event, is because the exact people that we not need to talk to are not the ones that are sitting in this room. But what we're asking you to do is to amplify these messages, to share it and to spread it. First, do no harm. And I think if there's anybody in this planet who genuinely believes that a phase 4 placebo-arm trial does no harm, it goes beyond mistaken, it goes beyond wrong, and it gets to the point of being deluded because the data is there. When we look at PBC guidelines, and, you know, you can take a pick. Let's got a PASO. So Tanaka-san, forgive my manners, but in the APASO guideline on PBC care, nowhere does it say, let your patient develop ascites and then intervene. The BSG guideline, nowhere in there does it say, allow your patient to develop varices and then intervene. When we look at AASLD and EASL guidelines, none of them say do nothing and let your patient get worse. And yet we do. I'm trying not to swear here, but what the fuck? Really? And this is what we do. So, all patients are equal. Now, those of you that have read Animal Farm might be familiar with this. But some patients are more equal than others. And we need to address this. Okay? Now, we've decided we're not going to do clinical trials in the US or Germany. Awesome. Let's do them in Mongolia instead. Really? I mean, really, really? Really, 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 really? This is where we are in 2025? This makes a difference. I'm not an expert. I'm not the hepatologist badge, but there's some data out there. So when you look at POIs, alk phos, now, you know, there's some lack of, what was the word we said? Lack of the equipoise, okay? But there was a lack of surety about this data. I mean, it's a diagnostic tool. If you've got raised alk phos, you've got PBC. That tells you that something abnormal is happening. So the lower your PBC when you started in this trial, the POISE trial, the greater your chance you had of responding. So the implication of this is that the higher you allow alk phos to get, the less chance you've got of your patients responding. But it's 2025, so it's, you know, OCA bad, other drugs good. So let's look at other drugs. And lo and behold, the message is the same. When you look at here, the higher the alk phos, it's not even less chance, it's no chance of normalizing. And yet what we're going to do in clinical trials is let patients go from there up to there and just watch them do it. And we're okay with that. Because you know what? It's just patients. Right? It's just middle-aged women, or even better, older women. Now, those of you that have met me know that I don't mean that. I hope. But it's a serious, serious message. What does that actually mean? So when you look at, again, science stuff, data, doesn't mean a lot until suddenly it means a lot. So when your age is below 62, your LSM, you lose 52.8 life months. That's 4 and a damn big bit years. So it matters. Now, is it really just patients? Mo, her daughter is very close to graduating. Carol spoke about her joy in becoming a grandmother again. Jane Thomas will be here at the summit. Again, she has a grandson of 8 days old, courtesy of 2 liver transplants. But let's say it wasn't women. And men, they do worse. They're fewer in number, but they do worse. But let's say it was important people, you know, people that wear suits, people that work in, I don't know, a regulatory body. Imagine that we were to lose life months of them at work, or women that we are. There's an uproar. The FDA is losing expertise. The FDA is losing people. Well, actually, no, they're losing their livelihood. These people are losing their lives. And we're okay with it. I'm not even going to read that out because I'm not the one to judge. I'm certainly not the one to answer. So let's look. It's not easy. Certainly not difficult to find a wiser mind than mine. So let's go to one. Because people say to me, what's going on? And then, and I'm going to talk about Ipsen, this 7-year trial. And, please be assured, other placebo-arm trials are available in your area. We've got 7-year placebo trial. And it's like, wait. For non-responders? Yeah. For high-risk patients? Yeah. Are they insane? You tell me. We are gambling with patients' lives. The patients ultimately want to know, will they see their grandkids born? Will they see them graduate? But in amongst all of that, am I going to live with certain symptoms? Am I going to get access to certain treatments? What are my outcomes? And we're stacking it with double zeros. And we have to be better than this. So moving towards solutions, which was the title of the path, okay? Gold standard. Random clinical trials are the gold standard. Now I'm looking at John and Dave. You guys will remember when leeches were the gold standard, right? Medicine moves on. In my time, the gold standard of care in PBC was a liver transplant. It moves on. Random clinical trials are not random. Oh, they're not random. They're random if you happen to live near Houston or Newcastle, Seattle. And then it becomes random as to which particular subgroup of wealthy, health literate white women you tend to be in. Then it becomes random. But up until that point, there's nothing random about our random controlled trials. And so to call it is a misnomer. Unattainable is not negative. They're not interchangeable. The trial was unattainable because patients, we built entire careers of making patients better informed, engaged, understanding the science so they can better self-care. And we're going, yeah, your self-care is awesome, but we're going to screw that for you. Patients want better and patients deserve better. We're asking to accept imperfections, but not the imperfections in random clinical trials, the imperfections of the new ways, the imperfections of real-world data. Because we were willing to accept the other imperfections. So is it possible? I don't know. Liver transplant's not a cure. It's a change of challenges. And that's okay. But somehow we can't move on from what's the gold standard because it brings us new challenges. The hypocrisy is sickening. Speaking to the regulators, you don't have to admit that you're wrong. But just move on. Again, a wiser mind than me. So do the best you can until you know better. And then, when you know better, do better. Well, you know what? We know better. So my ask of you is to do better. And that comes with a single decision. I'm going to do better. We're going to do better. And until you make that decision, it's not going to happen. And this is where we need the change. And if you're working in a huge agency, if you're working in industry, if you're working at a clinician under really difficult circumstances, or if you're working in a patient advocacy group, if you think you're too small to make a difference, then try sleeping with a mosquito in the room. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the chairs.